Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we will talk about data warehouse. Okay, it's a very important concept of ETL testing, in the ETL testing basically. So when we talk about data warehouse, what data warehouse is? That's the first question come in our minds, right? So let's try to decode this term data and warehouse and try to understand what this actually stands for. Okay, so what data is? Now the data is like an information, right? You will store for a specific purpose, right? Let's say you are trying to store your monthly expense, right? So that you can get a sense out of it, right? So you're tracking some expenses, and that is nothing but a data. And why you are storing? So that you will have some information that after 1 month, how much data you have spent, right? So now let's take a look what data is as in definition. Okay, so data refers to an information that is collected and stored for a specific purpose, right? As I said, if you're storing your monthly expenses in an Excel sheet, right, you are storing this information to get an insight like how much spending you have done for this particular month, right? So that's what data is, right? And here, if I say such as recording of sales transactions, customer information, and employee records, again, it depends on organization to organization. For banks, it could be like the customer as well as their transactions. For a marketing firm, it will be a marketing transactions. Based on marketing, they are how much sales they are doing, right? So it depends in an organization how many departments you have, and based on those departments you will be storing your information or data. Now let's move ahead and see what warehouse is, right? Just think warehouse like a normal warehouse which we saw in your daily life, right? You are storing some, you have seen, right, the government stores the grains in a warehouse, right? The same thing applies here as well, right? So the warehouse, first of all, if I talk about the warehouse is a large storage space, right? So it's a space, it's a very large space where you are keeping your things until they are needed, right? So you will be storing everything here. So when we combine data and warehouse, it means we are actually storing data in a large space. So what data warehouse is? A large centralized repository of data. So instead of grains, you are storing the data, right? Just think it like that. Now, let's try to understand why we need data warehouse. Okay. And to make it more, I will try to explain it in a more layman term so that you will be able to understand it. Why, what is the use of it? Okay. Why we actually need it. Okay. So let's see. Now here I have mentioned one diagram saying data, information, and knowledge. Okay, I will be explaining these terms with an example. Let's say you have a store. Okay, you have a store where you are keeping so many books, right? And it's an online store, right? Let's say, and whenever a customer comes, it will make a purchase, right? And it will move ahead. It will go ahead. Now, what you will be doing, you will be keeping a record for these transactions, like customer name, okay, book name, maybe date of purchase, cost, right? And couple of other informations, right? Related to the transactions or the timing, right? At what time it purchased generally. So you will have these informations, right? And you are keeping this information every day. Now, since you are keeping this information every day, it will keep on adding it to your data, right? Now, you have the data and you are keeping it very nicely, very in a proper format, right? So that you will get an information out of it. So when I say when you're keeping the data in a proper format, it will give you an information, right? If I gave you a JSON file, right? The JSON file in a, like this in the columns and all the braces and curly braces and everything, right? It will be really tough to understand. But if it is in a table form, even a normal person can read it, right? So that's why we need to keep our data organized in a proper format so that it will give you as an information. So I hope this data and information, you got the differences, right? Now, since you are keeping this information in the Excel sheet and the information looks good, right? But you're keeping it on a day by day, every day, and after a couple of days or a month or a year, right? Right? There will be a hell lot of information for you. And it is now really difficult to analyze it. Now the problem comes, right? Because the problem here is, since you have lots of data over a period of time, now you cannot just go through the data in a day, right? Maybe you're storing it in Excel sheet. After 1 GB or 2 GB of data in the Excel sheet crashed. If you are storing it in a multiple Excel sheets, it will be really tough to to get an insight of it to both the Excel sheets. And if you're keeping something in the register again, it will be really within a month or so, you will be very it will be very cumbersome task to get an insight of it. So that's where the data warehouse comes into the picture. Okay, it will help you to organize your all this information in a way so that it will be easy to understand. Okay, now how data warehouse will be organized, how data warehouse will organize it. As of now, you're storing it in a single table, right? Let's think you are creating one table for the customer now, only the customer information, right? Right, customer information. You are storing one more, you are keeping one more table related to the books, right? You are storing the book information here, right? Again, one more table where you are keeping the transactions. Okay. Now, since you have all these different tables, now you will create an analyzed view, you can say, or more kind of a informed or a table which will give you an insight of your data based on these three tables, right? So this kind of structures comes into the data warehouse. Okay, first of all, and based on this data warehouse, based on this set of tables, you can make your information more informative. Okay, so the data warehouse will help you to organize all this information in a way so that it will be easier to analyze it, right? Now, since we have this information now, it will be really easy to give couple of answers, right? Like, how much, let's say, how much sales we did last quarter, right? You can find out this information. You can find out like how many books did you sell last month, right? You can find out like which books are our best sellers, right? So these kind of answers you can easily find with the help of data warehouse, and that's where the knowledge comes into the picture, right? So first of all, we have processed the data, right? We have processed this data in a proper format, right? Like this. And then based on this proper formatting, and you can say like keeping in a proper way, right? After this, you can create a view out of it, right? An analytical view. And based on those analytical views, or you can create those analytical views to get these questions answered. Okay. So that's why the data warehouse is really important. So I hope now the reason why data warehouse is in the picture is clear to you guys. Okay. Now, let's see what are the characteristics of data warehouse. Okay, so when I say characteristics of data warehouse, basically there are 8 important characteristics. There could be many, okay, but these are the 8 which are really, really important key characteristics, basically, you can say. The first one is centralized repository. As I said, the data will be centralized to your warehouse, right? Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention data here. Okay. Okay, so it's a centralized repository where you will be keeping all your relevant information, right? The next thing is structured data. Now, since the data is in the tabular form, it is really easy to understand it and to search and analyze it. Now, the third one is historical data. When I say historical data, since we are keeping the information over a period of time for, I mean, the previous information as well as the new information will keep on appending into our data warehouse. So we will have the historical data records to get more insight of data or a trend over a period of time. You can see, right? What is the trend? How many customers now keep on coming every year, right? Or how many books, what is the growth in book selling you have every month? Those kind of trends you can see. Now the next one is multi-source. I have given you an example of this online store of a book, right? Let's now switch over to some big organization where we have multiple or different, you can say, just like different departments, right? Like the finance department, the marketing department, the accounting department, the sales department, the customer department, the CRM department, other couple of departments, right? So you will be storing all those source related information into your data warehouse. So it's a multi-source data, right? Then we have a read optimized. Read optimized means, like, because reading will be very quick now, right? In the data warehouse, it will give you an optimized way to read your data. The last one is summarized data. Since everything is in your data warehouse, you can easily summarize or aggregate your data to make it easy to analyze and understand. Okay, so these are the some key features that makes a data warehouse powerful tool for organizations looking to store, analyze, and make sense to their data, right? And that's why data warehouse is important. Now, when I was talking about this multi-source, I told you that there could be multiple departments in the organization, right? Nowadays, you will see one more keyword or one more term known as data marts, right? So what data mart is? You can say data marts is a subset of the data warehouse. Okay, so data warehouse holds data related to all the departments. Let's say sales, okay, purchase, accounting, customer, everything, right? But what data marts will do, data mart will store data related to only purchase. So it's a subset of your data warehouse. Okay, so in the few organizations you will hear this term also, data mart. So data marts is really specific to a specific business function or a department in an organization. So I say here, this data mart is of purchase department. Okay, here maybe you have one more data mart. This is for accounting department. Okay, right? And all this information is present in the data warehouse. But purchase department wants to see only his purchase related information. That's why data marts comes into the picture, right? Because if you wanted to search something from the data warehouse where you have all the information, maybe it takes 1 minute. Let's take an example, right? Because it has data for purchase, sales, accounting, and cost and everything, right? But if you try to search your data or to make it more relevant to your purchase related terms, right? The results and the overall picture, it will be more clear, right? If I say the result retrieval, right, it will be very quick. Here it is taking 1 minute, and maybe here it will be in the fraction of second, maybe 5 seconds or 3 seconds, right? So you are able to process the data very quickly, first of all. Okay, and it is very specific to your department, right? So you don't have to worry about the other departments here. So that's why the concept of data mart comes into the picture. So let's try to understand what data marts as well, so that we can differentiate between both of them. So when I say data mart, so here data mart is a subset, as I said, right? It's a subset of data warehouse that is designed to serve a specific business function. When I say specific business function, means a department within an organization, right? As I said, marketing, finance, accounting, sales. Now, the data mart contains only the data that is relevant to a specific business area. That's what I have explained, right? Like for sales, marketing, finance, right? Now, the data marts are smaller. Obviously, it will be smaller than the data warehouses because it's a subset, and more focused than the data warehouse. It's more focused because it's only focusing on that particular business area. That is why it is more focused. So that's it. That's the difference between data warehouse, data mart. Why data warehouse is important. Why data marts comes into the picture. I think uh, it should be clear to you guys. If you have any other questions, please feel free to post it in the comments. I will be happy to help. Thanks for watching this video. Bye.